So we're all hearing about AI nonstop, right? But what's it really going to look like in, say, 2026? I mean, beyond the hype and the crazy sci-fi stuff. We're talking about the real tech that's just around the corner, ready to change how we do, well, everything. So let's unpack the biggest trends that are going to shape the next couple of years.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. We'll start with AI's next chapter, then jump into this wild world of AI agents. From there, we'll see how AI is stepping into the real world. We'll also look at the new tech that's powering it all. And finally, we'll put it all together to see what our AI future really looks like. Let's get into it.
You know, the speed at which AI is changing is just wow. It's truly mind-blowing. We're already moving past the simple chatbots we've gotten used to and heading towards something way more powerful, way more connected. And this whole new era really kicks off with one simple question, but it's a question that changes the entire game.
And there it is. What if you had a whole team of agents working together? This right here is the core of the big shift. We're ditching the old idea of one giant know-it-all AI. The future isn't about one AI, it's about teams of specialized AIs working together.
So how do we get there? Well, we're stepping into what you could call a world of AI agents. And this is where AI stops being just a tool you use and starts becoming more like a teammate you work with.
This leads us right into our first huge trend, multi-agent orchestration. And the idea behind it is actually pretty simple. Think about it. No single person is an expert at everything, right? Same goes for AI. So, instead of trying to build one AI that can do it all, the smart move is to create a team of specialist AIs. Each one is great at its own thing, and they all work together on a project, guided by a kind of AI project manager or orchestrator.
And this is what that team looks like in action. First up, you have the planner agent. Its job is to take a big goal and break it down into manageable little steps. Then, the worker agents. These are your specialists. They jump in and actually do the work, whether it's writing code or pulling data. But it doesn't stop there. You've got a critic agent that comes in at the end, kind of like quality control to check everything and make sure it's good to go. It's this built-in system of checks and balances that makes the whole thing so powerful and reliable.
Now, what happens when you take that idea and scale it way up? You get our next trend, the digital labor workforce. I love that term. If the team of agents was like a project team, this is like the entire company. We're talking about autonomous digital workers that don't just follow simple commands. They can understand a complex task, figure out how to do it, and even connect with other software to get the job done. This is a total game changer for productivity, a massive force multiplier.
Okay, but let's be super clear here. This is not about replacing humans. Not at all. It's about making us more powerful. We're still in the driver's seat. We're the ones providing the oversight, making corrections, and deciding the big picture strategy. You could say we're the managers, and these AI agents are our new super efficient team.
So you've got these human-led teams of AI agents, but where do they all work together? That brings us to social computing. Just think of it like a massive, shared digital office space or a factory floor where all these agents and all the humans can interact seamlessly. It's this shared fabric that lets everyone collaborate, share information, and create a kind of collective intelligence. It's the environment where it all happens.
So far, everything we've talked about has been happening inside a computer, right? In the digital world of text and images. But now, AI is starting to break out. It's learning to see, understand, and operate in our physical world. This is where things get really interesting.
And we call this, pretty simply, physical AI. We're talking about a new kind of AI model, sometimes called a world foundation model, that can actually understand the 3D world around it. It gets concepts like gravity or how objects interact. It can perceive, it can reason about physics, and then it can take physical action. This is the brain that's going to power the next wave of robots.
And you have to understand what a huge leap this is for robotics. The old way was just painful. Humans had to sit there and write code for every single possible scenario. If you see a wall, turn left. If you see a chair, stop. The new way, it completely flips that on its head. The AI now learns about the world on its own inside a simulation. It figures out physics, it learns how things behave, and then it applies all that learning to the real world. It's not just following rules, it's actually understanding.
Of course, for a robot to work in the real world, it has to think fast. There's no time to send data to the cloud and wait for an answer. And that brings us to reasoning at the edge. For the longest time, all the heavy-duty AI thinking had to happen in these giant, power-hungry data centers.
But by 2026, we're going to see small, super efficient AI models that can do complex thinking right on your device, on your phone, in your car, on your laptop.
And why is that such a big deal? Well, a few huge reasons. For one, it works even if you're offline. Two, it's way more private because your personal data never leaves your device. And three, there's no lag. No waiting for a signal. This allows for instant, real-time decisions in situations where every millisecond counts. Think self-driving cars or advanced medical equipment.
Okay, so we have these teams of AI agents, and we have robots that can actually understand the physical world. Pretty amazing stuff. But what's the engine driving all of this? Let's peel back the layers and look at the foundational tech, the new rules, the new computing power, the new architecture that's making all of this happen.
First things first, verifiable AI. You know the saying, with great power comes great responsibility, right? Well, AI is getting incredibly powerful, and now the rules are starting to catch up. A huge piece of this is the EU AI Act, which is set to be in full swing by mid-2026. Probably the easiest way to think about it is this. It's basically GDPR, but for AI.
So what does that actually mean? Well, it all boils down to accountability. If you're building a high-risk AI system, you're going to have to document your work. You have to be transparent and tell people when they're talking to an AI, and you have to show your homework, basically summarizing what data your AI was trained on. And just like we saw with GDPR for data privacy, the expectation is that this EU law will become the blueprint for responsible AI all over the world.
Okay, next up is a massive jump in pure horsepower. We're talking about quantum utility. For years, quantum computing has felt like something out of science fiction. But by 2026, it's expected to finally start moving out of the lab and into the real world. It's not going to replace our current computers, but it'll work with them to solve problems that are just impossible right now. Things like designing brand new drugs atom by atom, or figuring out the most efficient shipping routes for the entire planet in an instant.
And last but not least, all this incredible new software needs a whole new kind of hardware foundation to run on. And that's where amorphous hybrid computing comes in. It sounds complicated, but the idea is brilliant. It's a super flexible computing system that can mix and match all kinds of different AI models with all kinds of different computer chips. It's smart enough to look at a problem and automatically assign each little piece of it to the absolute best, most efficient hardware for that specific job.
I mean, just look at the variety of tools getting thrown into this mix. On the software side, you've got all these different kinds of AI models. And on the hardware side, it's not just CPUs and GPUs anymore. We're talking about TPUs, brand new quantum processing units, QPUs, and even chips that mimic the human brain. The whole point is to have a toolbox with every possible tool so you can use the perfect one for every single task, all managed by one smart system.
All right, we have covered a ton of ground, from AI workforces to quantum computing. So let's take a step back and put all these pieces together. Let's paint a single, clear picture of what the world of AI is actually going to look like in 2026.
So when you bring it all home, you can see the AI of 2026 isn't going to be just one thing. It's going to be way more collaborative, with teams of AI agents working together. It's going to be physically capable, living in robots that can interact with the real world. It's going to be safer and more regulated, and underpinning all of it is this brand new, super powerful, and incredibly flexible computing infrastructure.
And the craziest part is, this future isn't some far-off dream. It's happening right now. It's being built as we speak. So that leaves us with one final, really important question to think about. Of all these incredible changes we've talked about, the AI agent teams, the smart robots, the quantum computers, which one do you think is going to be the biggest deal in 2026?